Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman. I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down. Holy cow, dude! Like, Star Wars has just engulfed my life recently, man. I've been so wrapped up in Star Wars. I mean, a 24-hour marathon, Rise of Skywalker twice, Mandalorian, so much Star Wars stuff going on. I sat down today and was like, holy crow, I've seen like a couple movies that I haven't talked about yet. And in this instance, I did talk about it, but just haven't had a chance to sit down and edit it so that I could get it out for you guys. So we're going to jump back right now to the old past Seaman after he saw this movie and talked about it. And now you'll get to know his feelings on Jumanji, The Next Level. So take it away, past Seaman.
You know where you are? You in the jungle, baby, and it's time to level up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm psyched, and I am still really, really terrible at trying to do an Axl Rose impersonation. It's probably because I'm not Axl Rose, but you know who I am? I am Corey. I am better known as the Seaman. I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down. I hope you got that reference, man. This movie is the sequel to a movie, one of the first movies I reviewed on the channel, and that was how I opened that movie, a little Axl Rose style, because we were talking about something that had references to Welcome to the Jungle. Now we're back for its sequel, and I thought it was only right to bring it back up one more time. And 2 years later, it's still really no good. But at least I can transition like anybody, man. Anyway, I'm losing track of all sorts of things. So why don't you pull up a chair, man? Take a seat. If you haven't figured it out, we are getting ready to dive in spoiler free into Jumanji Next Level. That's right, man. One of my favorite films 2 years ago was Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle. And while I didn't think it was a great Jumanji movie, I thought it was so creative, so inventive, one of the best video game styled movies I'd seen in a long time, man. The way they utilize video game elements and the concept of building a video game and how you traverse through a video game and NPCs and all the different elements they packed in there, I was just like, this is glorious. And it was so much fun. It was super entertaining. The biggest shock was that the funniest person was not Kevin Hart. It was actually Jack Black. And the best action did not go to The Rock. It actually went to Karen Gillan. And for me, that was, I think, the biggest shock of the movie. But I thought it all worked so well as whatever this movie was. I didn't think it was a great Jumanji flick. And what's nice here was that director of Welcome to the Jungle, Jake Kasdan, is back directing again, and this time writing. He's also righting some of those wrongs. One of my biggest gripes was like, how we not get any monkeys? Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle. Like, the monkeys were very quintessential in the original Jumanji. Another thing was like large plants that could attack you or big bugs. We don't really get those, but we do get some monkeys. And we get some humor around those monkeys, and we get maybe one of the best sequences of the whole film surrounded with those monkeys. So immediately, I was very happy because I was like, yo, man, we're going to do Jumanji. Give me some monkeys. And we get some monkeys in this movie, and they're a lot of fun. We actually get a whole bunch of different creatures and animals in this one, and all of them are quite fun, man. You get stuff that we've seen in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler, but I mean the monkeys, ostriches, different things this time around than what we got in the first one. And it's super enjoyable. And the reason we're getting different things this time around is because the video game is broken. And thus, when Spencer tries to fix it, it creates a different version of the game. Everything about their goal, who they're fighting, what they've got to do has changed. And that's one of the fun things that we get to have in this movie. But what I think this movie continues to thrive upon is its cast and its main characters. And when I say main characters, I mean Spencer, Martha, Fridge, and Bethany. Now, while those characters are in avatars most of the movies, I think Alex Wolff, Morgan Turner, Sedarius Blaine, and Madison Iceman do a really good job again. Once what they did in the first one, what they do here. It's really important to establish those characters in the real world first and build things that came out of the first one and into this one that make you care about these kids, that connect us to these kids. And the reason that connection is so strong and the reason that we really do care about this cast is because the people who are playing their avatars, The Rock, Kevin Hart, Karen Gillan, and Jack Black do a really, really good job of embodying Alex Wolff, Morgan Turner, Sedarius Blaine, and Madison Iceman. And it's the thing that I just think is so fascinating to watch in these movies is whoever gets to play one of these kids, they do such a good job. They feel like the characters that they're supposed to be inside of these avatars. And it's the thing that continues to work the best in the movie, to the point that you always care about the kids, not so much The Rock, Kevin Hart, Karen Gillan, or Jack Black. So I've always thought that was the most impressive thing. And you get, like I said, really strong performances from a really fun young cast that, personally, I'd like to see even more of. And if Jumanji could get us to a place where you could see more of them, I'd totally be in for that ride. But alas, what we get most of the time is a phenomenal cast of four in The Rock, Kevin Hart, Karen Gillan, and Jack Black. They're all back. And what I liked a lot more this time around for these four is the fact that, like I said, the game was broken, right? At the end of the first one, they broke the game. Spoilers! If you didn't see the first one, I don't know why you're watching this video, but they broke the game at the end because they never wanted to go back, right? Because the game pulls you in, you get 3 lives, and if you lose all 3 lives in the game, you die in real life. Nobody wants that, so they destroy the game. But because of things that are going on personally in each of their lives, and specifically Spencer's, when he comes home from college break, that's where everybody is right now. We're at the end of their high school, years in the first one. Now we're out in college. When he comes home, he tries to fix the game, gets sucked in, and then that eventually leads everybody else to getting sucked in. The problem is the game is broken, so we get a different version of Jumanji, like I mentioned. We get to hang with the monkeys and some ostriches and some other different, levels. All the levels are different. But the other thing is, because the game is broken, it doesn't quite pull everybody in correctly, right? Like, everyone picked their avatars the first time around. This time it just sucks people into the game. And what you end up with is Spencer nowhere to be seen when we get there. We're actually following Fridge, Martha, and Bethany, or so we think. When we get pulled in, what we end up seeing with our main 4 is, thank God, Karen Gillan is once again Martha. Jack Black is not Bethany this time around. He gets to play Fridge, and when we'll get to Jack Black, man, but he is once again the MVP, man. They just continually give him people to impersonate that he's so good at capturing the essence of these kids. Like, to have him capture, the hot blonde from high school, and then to have him capture, like, the 300-pound, like, black lineman from high school. He nails both characters so well. So this time around, though, he is Fridge. And then Kevin Hart and The Rock don't get to be any of the kids that we know. They are Eddie, who is Spencer's grandpa, being played by Danny DeVito, and Milo, who is Eddie's former best friend, played by Danny Glover. And it's an interesting tweak to the movie, and don't worry. The movie does a really good job of playing with a lot more characters than it did the first time. And they find ways to have everybody kind of do things that we want to see them do, right? So, we'll get to see Jack Black do the things we like to do. Again, he is the MVP here. Karen Gillan gets to remain as Martha and get to be the kick-ass action star super heroine once again, man. She's phenomenal. They give her a huge scene at the end of the movie. She gets one like toward the middle somewhere that, like, you just sit there and you're like, yes, man. Like, I'm glad that Karen Gillan gets to be badass. I'm glad Jack Black gets to keep being the MVP. And I'm glad that The Rock and Kevin Hart got better characters. Now, I'm not knocking Fridge or Spencer, but giving The Rock and Kevin Hart a pair of dudes who used to be best friends works so much better because it can play with their real life chemistry. These guys are really good friends in real life, and it works. Having them be actual best friends inside the game rather than, the big tough guy and the kind of the nerdy kid that aren't, like, super tight yet. It works better. They mesh better. They have more emotional sequences. They have better scenes together. And watching them impersonate Danny DeVito and Danny Glover is absolutely hysterical, man. Like, the thing that's working with Danny DeVito in this movie that The Rock is constantly harping on, genius. The thing that Kevin Hart's pulling on constantly with Danny Glover's character, also genius, and allows them to be more entertaining, allows them to be more funny. So I thoroughly enjoyed their characters way more than the first time. As I said, Karen Gillan gets to remain as Martha and gets to continue to be the ass kicker that we know she is in these movies. And her scenes are fun, man, and I thoroughly enjoyed her stuff, it's probably this half of the group is probably something I liked more in the first one than this one. But again, Karen Gillan, rock solid, really really enjoyable, another standout. And Jack Black, like I said, man, as Fridge, he's absolutely hysterical. He totally embodies Sedarius Blaine the same way he totally embodied Madison Iceman in the first one. And as you've seen in the trailers, he does get to have a moment with Bethany where he gets to, be like, oh, I missed you so much. And things like that just work so well for Jack Black. And it's the thing that they kind of incorporate into this movie to allow Jack Black to be different people allows him to be the perfect person to be the one that gets to play the most diverse roles, because he just nails it so well. Again, MVP every time. But what's fun is there's a lot of characters in this that I didn't expect to see, and the people that pop up, some that we have seen from the other movies, some that are brand new, and I don't want to spoil them, but the people who show up do a really, really good job, and the concept for their characters, I think, is really, really interesting. Specifically, the way Bethany kind of gets worked into the whole mix, because she's not in that original grouping of 4, and where we find Spencer this time. When we kind of get those answered, they're surprising, and they're a lot of fun. Now, the one character that is new that I will talk about, mild spoiler, we don't have Bobby Cannavale back as our villain. This time we have Rory McCann. That's right, the Hound is in kind of playing a role that's similar to the Hound, only if he had like more of the Mountain's personality. He's really, really good. I love anytime he's on camera. And I enjoy what they do with him. I think it's a little anticlimactic as far as like the actual like boss fight. It certainly looks and feels like a boss fight when it's going down. But again, kind of same with Cannavale. It was like, that was a little flat. But everything that leads up to that is phenomenal as far as the movie goes. And I enjoyed Rory McCann more than Cannavale in this movie. It's always nice to see the Hound show up in anything. But like I said, man, the reason that this movie works, the reason this franchise is working so well, is the video game elements continue to be fantastic. The way they incorporate new things into this movie and some of the stuff that they play with this time around, I really, really enjoyed. But it's all about the cast, and the fact that the cast can really embody the characters, 2 different versions of them. The video game avatars, all excellent, as we said, but continually, man, I really do like this young cast of the actual characters in Wolf, Turner, Blaine, and Iceman. And the fact that Johnson, Hart, Black, and Gillen can capture the essence of those kids so well. It really is the strength. It's the thing that makes you fall in love with the movie, because you love those characters. And everything that they add this time around, I just thought provides tons and tons of entertainment, man. I mean, this thing is funny, it's action-packed, and while I don't think it's quite as inventive or as big as a surprise as the first one was, I thought it was a rock-solid follow-up, and where they take us in this one leaves us in a place that I'm certainly happy about. I won't say any more because I don't want to spoil anything. But for me, I really enjoyed this one, man. I think that Kasdan learned from the first one, and I think, it does feel like it's the next level, right? The movie's called The Next Level. It feels like it's leveled up. It does some bigger things. It does some more interesting things. And the other thing that Kasdan is able to do, too, is putting callbacks into the original movie. He has a couple of them, and where they pop up, how they're presented, and how they function is absolutely genius. Like, there's one moment where literally you're just sitting there and you're like, oh yeah, dude, like that's the perfect way to do that, and it involves callbacks and stuff. So I like that he was able to incorporate that, as well as continuing to push on this newer part of the story and all the new stuff that they insert into the movies. Albeit, I still like the first one slightly more, but this is just rock solid. I think Kasdan learned from a lot of things that didn't work in the first one and incorporated them to improve certain elements of this movie, and again, just give you a rock solid follow-up. I certainly hope that Mr. Kasdan can get another Jumanji film, because I love this cast, I love this group, I love watching them on screen, and I'd certainly be all in for another level here in Jumanji's video game movies. I really, really enjoyed this. It's a lot of fun. If you're looking for just flat-out entertainment, I highly recommend Jumanji: The Next Level. All right, man, we're done. Those are all my thoughts. Now I want to know what you're thinking, man. Were you a fan of the first Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle? How did you think that was as far as being a Jumanji movie? How did this movie improve itself? Did you think it improved itself? Did it come under the bar? Did it go past your expectations over the bar. What was funny, what wasn't? Did you enjoy The Rock and Kevin Hart more this time, playing Danny DeVito and Danny Glover, than in the first one? Did you like Jack Black getting to impersonate Fridge this time around? Karen Gillan just being Karen Gillan. What was your favorite bit with her? Like I said, the action sequences in this are a lot of fun, and the way the movie flows, you're just never not having a good time. So let me know everything you're thinking about Jumanji, The Next Level, down below in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with the old C-Man anytime we're talking about Jumanji or any movies or trailers, well, then I recommend you come join the Cinema Sit-Down Squad so I pop up in your feed. You can do that by jumping over there, hitting the subscribe button. If you hit that little bell that follows, that just shows that you like to be the first in the know when the C-Man drops things, and it'll give you alerts anytime I drop a video. So come do that for me. I'll keep cranking on the content over here for you guys, and until next time, for the C-Man Cinema Sit-Down, I'm the C-Man. I'm signing off. Peace. Well, I'll be. You guys are still here. You must be looking for some more content. Well, don't worry. C-Man's got you covered, man. You got videos like this guy and this guy. And if you haven't yet, and you want to come check out all the C-Man goodies, join the Cinema Sit-Down Squad, man. Hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the little bell down below that, too, so you can get alerts every time I make new videos.